She screamed, "He was mine," and punched the bathroom wall, while he whispered in my ear, "Never was and never will be." There's something about bathrooms at social events that makes them unwitting confessionals. Places where masks fall, where truths are whispered, where dramas explode away from public scrutiny. I never imagined that a fancy restaurant bathroom in Seattle would become the stage for the most terrifying and liberating moment of my life. My name is Natalie Brooks. I'm 28 years old, and I'm a landscape architect specializing in sustainable design. My life has always been orderly, planned, controlled, like the gardens I design. Every plant in the right place, every element serving a purpose, everything in harmony. And then I met Ethan Cole and discovered that real love isn't a perfectly planned garden. It's more like a wild forest, beautiful, unpredictable, and sometimes dangerous. I met Ethan in March at a conference on sustainable architecture and green technology. He was presenting on software that optimizes energy efficiency in commercial buildings. I was presenting on vertical gardens that purify urban air. Our panels were consecutive, and afterwards, at the reception, we bumped into each other, literally. Red wine spilled on my white blouse, and he was mortified. "My God, I'm so sorry. I'm clumsy. I always do this. Let me pay for the dry cleaning or buy you a new blouse." "Breathe," I laughed, grabbing napkins. "It's fine. Honestly, I hated this blouse anyway. You just gave me an excuse to never wear it again." He laughed too, and the sound was warm, genuine. "So technically, I did you a favor?" "Technically. Can I make it up to you by buying you a drink? One I promise not to spill?" We had drinks, then dinner, then breakfast the next day, and within a week, we were talking every day, discovering that we had that rare connection where silences are comfortable and conversations never end. Ethan was kind, genuinely kind, not the performative kind. He remembered small details, asked thoughtful questions, listened more than he spoke. He had brown eyes that smiled before his mouth did, hair that was always slightly messy because he ran his hand through it when he was thinking, and a way of looking at me that made me feel seen, truly seen. "You're different," he said on our fifth date as we walked through Pike Place Market. "From the people I normally meet, you're real, no games, no hidden agendas." Is that good? It's everything. He took my hand, and the gesture was so natural, it felt like our hands were always meant to be together. I should have asked at that moment what he meant by games and hidden agendas. I should have realized he was comparing me to someone specific, but I was too busy being happy to ask difficult questions. The first time I heard about Melissa was in our third week of dating. We were at his apartment, cooking together, when his phone rang. He looked at the screen and something crossed his face, something between frustration and resignation. "Do you need to answer that?" I asked. "No, it's just my ex. She calls sometimes. Sometimes like once a month, once a week. More like several times a day." He put the phone aside, but it kept ringing. I've blocked her number about 10 times. She always gets new numbers. Something cold ran down my spine. "Ethan, that's not normal." "I know. She has trouble accepting that we broke up. But eventually she'll get over it. She always does." "Always? Has this happened before?" "She has phases. Gets intense for a few weeks, then disappears for a few months. It's been like this since we broke up." He finally looked at me, and there was something in his eyes. Guilt? Shame? 2 years ago? 2 years? My voice came out louder than I intended. "Ethan, you broke up 2 years ago and she's still calling you several times a day?" "I know how it sounds, but she's not dangerous, just persistent. And I don't want to cause drama by going to the police or getting a restraining order. She just needs time." This is the problem with kind people. They confuse kindness with enabling abusive behavior. They think setting boundaries is cruel, that ignoring a problem will make it disappear. Ethan wasn't being kind to Melissa by avoiding confrontation. He was allowing her to live in a fantasy. And a fantasy, when unchallenged, becomes a delusion. "How long did you two date?" I asked, carefully. 8 months. And look, before you ask, I broke up with her. Clearly. Definitely. It wasn't ambiguous. She knew it was over. Then why doesn't she accept it? Because, he hesitates, because Melissa doesn't hear what she doesn't want to hear. She creates her own reality. And in her reality, we're going to get back together. Eventually. She just needs to wait. That's terrifying. I know. But Natalie, I'm not going to let her ruin this. Ruin us. She's the past. You're the present. And I hope you're the future too. He kissed me, and the kiss was sweet and sincere. And I wanted to believe it would be that simple, that the past would stay in the past. That present love would be enough to keep shadows away. I was so wrong. The first time I saw Melissa was accidental, or at least I thought it was accidental. Ethan and I were having brunch at a cafe on Capitol Hill, laughing about something silly, completely absorbed in each other. And then I felt it, that sensation of being watched. I looked up and saw her, sitting 3 tables behind us, alone, with an untouched cup of coffee in front of her, staring at me with an intensity that made me freeze. She was beautiful, objectively beautiful, perfectly waved blonde hair, impeccable makeup, clothes that screamed, I try hard but want to look effortless. But there was something in her eyes, something cold, calculating, obsessive. Ethan, I whispered, don't look now, but there's a blonde woman 3 tables behind us who's staring at me. He tensed, turned slowly, and when he saw her, his face went pale. Melissa. She smiled, not at him, but at me, and that smile had no warmth. It was defiance, possessiveness, a warning. Ethan stood up, went to her table. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I could see. He spoke low but firm. She smiled, shook her head, said something that made him recoil. He came back to our table, clearly upset. She says it's a coincidence, that she always comes to this cafe. Do you believe her? No, but I can't prove she's following me. He took my hand. Natalie, I'm so sorry. This isn't fair to you. It's not about fair. It's about safety. Ethan, she's following you. That's stalking. I know, but without concrete evidence, the police won't do anything. And a restraining order requires legal process, lawyers, public drama. And I just want her to go away. Melissa stood up, picked up her purse, and walked past our table on her way out. As she passed me, she leaned in and whispered so low that only I heard, enjoy it while it lasts. They all come back to me eventually. And then she left, leaving behind only the smell of overly expensive perfume and a thinly disguised threat. I should have insisted on a restraining order then. I should have gone to the police. I should have taken it more seriously. But how do you take seriously something that seems absurd? An ex who thinks she can get back a boyfriend just by wanting it badly enough. It seemed too pathetic to be dangerous. I was wrong. The messages started a week later. Not to Ethan, to me. From unknown numbers, fake social media accounts, emails from random addresses, all saying variations of the same thing. He doesn't really love you. You're just a distraction until he comes home. He says my name when he's alone. You'll never be what I was to him. I showed Ethan. He was furious, more furious than I had ever seen him. This is over. I'm going to the police. I'm getting a restraining order. She can't do this to you. To us, I corrected. She's doing this to us. We went to the police. The officer, Detective Morrison, a tired man in his mid-40s with eyes that had seen too much, listened to our story with an expression that mixed sympathy and frustration. Look, he said, I believe you, and yes, this sounds like stalking. But legally, we need more. Anonymous messages aren't enough. We need to prove it's her sending them. We need a documented pattern of harassment. We need an explicit threat. She told me to enjoy it while it lasts, I said. Isn't that a threat? It's ambiguous. Her lawyer would argue it was just a catty comment, not a real threat. He sighed. My advice, document everything. Every message, every coincidental appearance, every interaction. Build a case. And in the meantime, block everything you can. Don't respond. Don't engage. Stalkers thrive on attention, even negative attention. We left the police station feeling more frustrated than when we entered. The system is broken, Ethan said bitterly. They can't do anything until she actually hurts us. Apparently. So what do? We do what the detective said. We document. We build a case. And in the meantime, I looked at him, we live our lives. We don't let her win by making us live in fear. He pulled me into a hug. You're amazing. You know that. I know, I joked. But internally, I was scared because something told me this was going to get worse before it got better. And I was right. Melissa escalated. She started showing up at my work. Not overtly, but I saw her, sitting in a car across the street, walking casually through the park where I was doing a site survey, entering cafes exactly when I did. She created a fake Instagram profile and started commenting on my photos, comments that seemed innocent to anyone who didn't know the context. Beautiful photo. Ethan loves that restaurant. We used to go there every week. Heart. That dress is lovely, though blue is more his color. Just a tip. You two are cute together, though he looks tired. Hope you're taking good care of him. Each comment was a small knife, not big enough to cause obvious harm, but sharp enough to cut. My best friend, Rachel Kim, a lawyer specializing in harassment cases, reviewed everything with professional eyes. This is gaslighting and intimidation, she said, her voice clinical but with underlying anger. She's trying to make you feel insecure, make you question the relationship, make you think she knows Ethan better than you. It's working, I admitted. I find myself wondering, what if she's right? What if I'm just temporary? What if he does go back to her? Natalie, Rachel grabbed my shoulders. Look at me. This is exactly what she wants. She wants to plant doubts. She wants to make you give up. Because if you give up, she wins. But you're not going to give up because you're stronger than that and because Ethan chose you, not her, you. So what do? We keep documenting, and in the meantime, I'll start building a case for a restraining order because, Natalie, this isn't a jealous ex. This is a stalker, and stalkers don't stop on their own. They need to be stopped. Rachel was right. Melissa wasn't going to stop because in her mind, she wasn't doing anything wrong. She was fighting for her love. She was a persistent heroine who would eventually win. She had romanticized obsession so much that she couldn't see she was the villain of the story, not the heroine. 3 months after we started dating, Ethan asked me to meet his parents. Dinner at their house, casual event, no pressure. I was nervous but excited. Until Melissa showed up. Not at dinner, she wasn't invited, but afterwards, as we were leaving. She was sitting in her car, parked in front of Ethan's parents' house, just waiting. My God, Ethan's mother, Patricia, whispered when she saw her. Is she still doing this? You know her? I asked. We know her. Ethan's father, Robert, looked tired. She used to show up here too, after they broke up, saying she needed to talk to Ethan, that there was a misunderstanding. We had to threaten her with a restraining order before she stopped. She stopped. For a while, but now that Ethan's dating again, Patricia looked at me sympathetically. Honey, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. Melissa she needs help, professional help, but she refuses to admit there's a problem. Ethan stepped out, went to Melissa's car. I followed him, ignoring his parents' protests. Melissa, you need to leave, Ethan said, his voice firm but not yelling. I just wanted to see you, she said, and there were tears in her eyes. You don't answer my calls. You don't reply to my messages. I miss you, Ethan. We were so good together. Do you remember? We broke up 2 years ago. You need to move on. I can't. The tears were falling now. I tried, but you're my person, Ethan, my soulmate, and I know you feel it too. I know you still love me. Something shifted in Melissa's face. The tears stopped. Her eyes grew cold. She looked at me with a hatred so pure that I took a step back. "She's not special," Melissa fed, her voice low and poisonous. "She doesn't know you like I do. She doesn't love you like I do. And when you realize that, when you finally wake up, I'll be waiting, as I always have been, as I always will be." She started her car and drove off, tires squealing. I was trembling, not from cold, but from visceral fear. Because for the first time, I saw what Melissa truly was. Not a pathetic ex, not a sad woman unable to move on, but someone genuinely dangerous. If you're enjoying this story, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more exciting stories. Share in the comments. Have you ever had to deal with an obsessed ex? What was it like? Rachel started the legal process for a restraining order the following Monday. We had evidence now, months of messages, photos of Melissa following us, witnesses to her constant appearances. But the legal system, we discovered, moves at a glacial pace when you need it to run. "It's going to take at least 3 weeks for a hearing," Rachel explained, frustration evident in her voice. "And even then, a judge might deny it if they don't think there's enough immediate threat. She showed up at his parents' house. She follows me. She sends hundreds of messages. What else does she need to do? Legally, make an explicit threat or actually hurt us." Rachel massaged her temples. "The system is designed to protect the accused's rights, which is good in theory, but in stalking cases, victims remain vulnerable while we wait for sufficient evidence." Meanwhile, Melissa intensified. She started showing up in places that only Ethan and I knew. Our favorite restaurant, the trail where we hiked on Sundays, even the small bookstore where we had our first date. "How does she know?" I asked Ethan after seeing her for the 5th time in a week. He went pale. "My phone. She must have access somehow." "Access how?" "When we were together, I gave her my iCloud password to share photos. I never changed it after we broke up." He pulled out his phone, fingers flying across the screen. "Damn it, she has access to my location, to my emails, to my calendars, everything." This is the thing about abusive and obsessive relationships. They don't end when you say they end. They leave tentacles. Digital access, personal information, connections you don't realize until it's too late. Melissa wasn't just following Ethan physically, she was monitoring his digital life. She knew everything. We changed all passwords. Ethan bought a new phone. I installed security apps. But the damage was done. Melissa had had access for 2 years. She knew patterns, habits, favorite places. She had a complete map of Ethan's life. And now, of mine too. The turning point came on a normal Tuesday. I was at the office, working on a corporate garden project, when I received a call from an unknown number. "Hello? Hello? A feminine professional voice? Yes? This is Jessica from HR at TechCore Solutions. We're calling about an incident involving your boyfriend, Ethan Cole." My heart pounded. What incident? Is he okay? "He's physically fine, but there was a situation here at the office. A woman showed up claiming to be his wife. She caused a scene, accused him of infidelity, said you're the other woman. Security had to escort her out." I closed my eyes. "Melissa, do you know this person?" "She's his ex-girlfriend. She's been harassing us for months. We're in the process of getting a restraining order." "I see." Jessica paused. "Miss Brooks, normally we don't get involved in employees' personal matters, but this woman, she said things, made accusations, and while we don't believe them, it created a difficult situation. Mr. Cole is being sent home today, and we need him to provide documentation regarding this situation." "Documentation?" "A restraining order, once you get it, police reports, anything that proves she's a stalker, not a legitimate spouse with legitimate complaints." Her voice softened. "Between us, I believe you, but my superiors need legal cover. You understand." "I understand. Thank you for calling." I hung up and immediately called Ethan. He answered on the first ring, voice tense. "You already know. HR called me." "Ethan, what happened?" "She showed up at reception, screaming, crying, saying I cheated on her with you, that I abandoned my wife, that you're a homewrecker." He took a shaky breath. Natalie, it was humiliating. Everyone saw. Everyone heard. And now there are rumors. People looking at me differently. Whispering. We'll fix this. Rachel can't fix my reputation. He was yelling now, and I had never heard him yell. Melissa destroyed my professional credibility in 10 minutes. And you know what's worse? Part of me knew it was going to happen. Knew she would escalate. And I did nothing. I kept being kind. I kept hoping she would stop on her own. And now, here we are. Ethan, I have to go. I need to process this. I'll call you later. He hung up, and for the first time, I felt our relationship shaking. Not because we didn't love each other, but because Melissa was succeeding. She was creating stress, doubt, tension. She was pulling us apart without needing to touch us. This is the goal of obsessive stalkers. It's not just to have the person they want. It's to destroy any happiness that person finds without them. It's to prove that no one else can make you happy like I can. It's sabotage disguised as love. And it was working. The turning point came on a normal Tuesday. Rachel expedited the restraining order process after the incident at work. This is clear escalation, she said. She went from private harassment to public humiliation. A judge will take that seriously. The hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In the meantime, Melissa was quiet. Too quiet. No messages, no appearances, nothing. She's planning something, I told Rachel. This is the calm before the storm. Or she finally realized she went too far and is backing down. Do you believe that? No, Rachel sighed. But I can hope. Ethan and I tried to go back to normal. Dinners, movies, conversations about the future. But there was tension now, caution, as if we were walking through a minefield, waiting for the next explosion. I love you, he said one night as we lay on his couch. You know that, right? I know. But I'm tired, Ethan. Tired of looking over my shoulder. Tired of checking if she's following us. Tired of living in fear. I looked at him. And I'm tired of you being too kind to set real boundaries. I got a restraining order. After she showed up at your work. After months of harassment. Ethan, you are so kind, so conflict-averse, that you let this go so far. My voice broke. And I love you, but I can't keep being the only one fighting. You need to fight too. Not just for me, for us. He was quiet for a long moment. You're right, about everything. I was a coward. I thought ignoring her would make her go away, but it only allowed her to get worse. He took my hand. But Natalie, I am fighting now. Restraining order, documentation. I even hired a lawyer to sue her for defamation after what she did at my work. I am fighting. Good, because we're going to need to. She's not going to give up easily. I know, but she will give up, eventually, because she can't win, not when we're together. I kissed him, and the kiss was a promise that we wouldn't give up, that we would fight together, that Melissa wouldn't win. But promises, I discovered, are easier to make than to keep. The restraining order hearing was surreal. Melissa showed up with an expensive lawyer, dressed conservatively, minimal makeup, looking like a victim instead of a perpetrator. Her lawyer argued that she was a concerned ex-girlfriend who just wanted closure, that messages were attempts at communication, not harassment, that appearances were coincidences in a big city, that the incident at Ethan's work was an emotional misunderstanding from a woman with a broken heart. Rachel dismantled every argument, hundreds of messages, location records showing Melissa had been in the same places as us dozens of times, testimonies from Ethan's parents, from coworkers, from friends. And then it was my turn to testify. Miss Brooks, the judge said, can you describe how Miss Hartley's behavior has affected you? I took a deep breath. I live in constant fear. Fear that she'll show up, fear of what she'll do next, fear that she'll hurt Ethan, or me, or both. My voice trembled. She's not a sad ex. She's an obsessive stalker who believes Ethan belongs to her, and that belief makes her unpredictable, dangerous. Objection, Melissa's lawyer said. Speculation on my client's mental state. Sustained. Miss Brooks, stick to the facts. The facts, I said, firmer now, are that she follows me, threatens me, sabotaged my boyfriend's work, and she won't stop until she's forced to stop. Melissa was crying now, silent tears that seemed genuine if you didn't know better. I just loved him, she whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Is that a crime? No, the judge said, gentle but firm. But stalking is. And based on the evidence presented, I am granting a temporary restraining order. Miss Hartley, you must maintain a distance of at least 500 feet from Mr. Cole and Miss Brooks. No direct or indirect contact, no appearances at workplaces or residences. Violation will result in arrest. Understood? Yes, Your Honor, Melissa said, but when she looked at me, her eyes were cold. No tears, just pure hatred. A restraining order is just paper. Paper doesn't stop bullets. It doesn't stop knives. It doesn't stop obsession. It just brings legal consequences after something bad has already happened. And looking at Melissa at that moment, I knew something bad was coming. If you're following this story, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, do you think restraining orders are enough, or does the system need to do more to protect stalking victims? The restraining order brought 2 weeks of blessed silence. No messages, no appearances, no Melissa. It was like breathing for the first time in months. Maybe it worked, Ethan said, hopefully. Maybe she finally understood. Or she's planning, I said, more skeptically. You can't live in paranoia forever, Nat. It's not paranoia if she's really stalking us. But I wanted to believe. I wanted to believe we could go back to normal. So when mutual friends, Jason and Melissa, not that Melissa, another one, invited us to their engagement dinner, we accepted. It'll be good, Ethan said. Normal night, friends, celebration, no drama. Promise? I promise. Promises made with good intentions are even more painful when broken, because you want to believe. You want the world to be simple, for people to be rational, for court orders to mean something. But the world isn't simple, people aren't rational, and paper doesn't stop obsession. The dinner was at a fancy restaurant in downtown Seattle, the kind of place with dim lighting, soft jazz music, and prices that make you think twice before ordering dessert. Jason and Melissa, the bride, had reserved a private room for 20 people, close friends, family, an intimate celebration. I was wearing a dark blue dress that Ethan loved, hair down, makeup that took longer than I'd admit. I wanted to look confident, happy, normal. You look beautiful, Ethan whispered when we arrived, kissing my neck in a way that made me temporarily forget all our problems. You clean up well too, I teased, adjusting his tie. The night started perfectly. Delicious food, conversations flowing. Ethan was relaxed in a way I hadn't seen him in months. Hand on my thigh under the table, smiling that smile that made his entire face light up. A toast. Jason stood up, champagne glass raised. To love, to partnership, to finding the person who makes you want to be better. To love, everyone echoed, glasses clinking. I needed to go to the bathroom. I excused myself, navigating the corridor to the restrooms at the back of the restaurant. The women's bathroom was elegant, marble, soft lighting, fresh flowers. I was reapplying lipstick when I heard the door open behind me, and then I saw the reflection in the mirror. Melissa. My blood ran cold. You shouldn't be here. There's a restraining order. 500 feet, she interrupted, locking the door behind her. I know, but you know what's funny? This restaurant is more than 500 feet long. Technically, I'm not violating anything. You're following us, again. I'm not following. I'm having dinner, alone, at the bar. Is that a crime? She approached, and I backed up until I was against the sink. But what a coincidence to see you here, with my Ethan. He's not yours. He was always mine. Her voice was calm. Too calm, frighteningly calm. You're just a distraction, a phase, something he needs to go through before he comes home. He's not coming back to you. He loves me. He thinks he loves you. She was closer now, invading my space. But it's only because you're new, different. As soon as the novelty wears off, he'll remember. He'll remember what we had, what we still have. You have nothing. You're delusional. Something changed in her face. The calm shattered, and underneath was anger, fury, madness. Delusional? She screamed now. I'm delusional? I gave 3 years of my life to that man. 3 years. And he discarded me like trash? Why? Because he's a coward, because he's afraid of real intimacy, because he prefers boring security to true passion. You two dated 8 months. 3 years. She punched the wall, and the sound was loud, brutal. Her knuckles immediately bled. We dated 3 years. We lived together. We talked about marriage. And then he just broke up. No real explanation, no closure, just, it's not working, as if 3 years could be discarded like that. And suddenly, everything made sense. Ethan had said 8 months. Melissa was saying 3 years. One of them was lying. Or both were telling their own truths. Maybe they dated for 8 months officially, but Melissa, in her head, had extended it to 3 years. She had created a relationship that never existed. She had rewritten history to justify obsession. Melissa, I tried to keep my voice calm. You need help, professional help. This isn't healthy. Don't tell me I need help. She punched the wall again and again, blood staining the white marble. I'm not crazy. I'm not a stalker. I'm a woman who loves, who fights for what's hers. And he was mine, is mine. The bathroom door shook. Someone trying to get in. Natalie? Ethan's voice, muffled but urgent. Are you okay? Melissa froze, looked at the door, then at me, and then something shifted in her eyes. Not anger now, but cold calculation. He came for you, she whispered. Of course he did, because you're a damsel in distress, and he's a hero. Always was a hero. My hero. Natalie, Ethan was pounding now. Open the door. I'll open it, Melissa said, her voice strangely calm again. But first, I want you to know something. I'm not giving up. Never. You can have a restraining order, you can have him now, but eventually, he'll see. He'll see you're wrong, that I'm right, and he'll come home. He'll never. The door burst open. Ethan had kicked it in, breaking the lock. He stepped inside, eyes immediately finding mine, checking if I was okay. Then he saw Melissa, and his expression shifted from concern to cold fury. You, he said, voice low and dangerous, you violated a restraining order. Technically, no, Melissa said, but there was fear in her eyes now. I was at the bar, 500 feet. You locked my girlfriend in a bathroom. You threatened her. He saw her bleeding hands, the broken wall. You need to leave, now, or I'm calling the police. Call them, Melissa screamed, all calm evaporating. Call the police. Tell them you're a coward, that you abandoned a woman who loved you, that you're with her, she pointed at me with a bloody finger, because you're afraid of real love. Ethan pulled out his phone, started dialing, and Melissa completely lost it. She started screaming, words spilling out in an incoherent torrent about love and betrayal and destiny and how it wasn't fair and how he was hers and always would be hers and then Ethan did something that changed everything. He pulled me close, wrapped his arm around me, and whispered, loud enough for Melissa to hear, soft enough to be intimate, never was and never will be. 5 words, simple, final. Devastating. Melissa froze, as if she had been physically struck. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. Did you hear? Ethan continued, his voice still low, but every word clear as a bell. You were never mine. 8 months of dating doesn't make you own me, and you never will be, because I choose Natalie. Not because you're bad and she's good, but because she sees me as a person. You see me as a possession. No, Melissa whispered. No, you can't. It's over, Melissa. It was over 2 years ago. It's over now. It's over forever. He tightened his grip on his phone and started dialing. And Melissa completely lost it. She started screaming, words spilling out in an incoherent torrent about love and betrayal and destiny and how it wasn't fair and how he was hers and always would be hers and then Ethan did something that changed everything. He pulled me close, wrapped his arm around me, and whispered, loud enough for Melissa to hear, soft enough to be intimate, never was and never will be. 5 words. Simple, final, devastating. Melissa froze, as if she had been physically struck. Her mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound came out. "Did you hear?" Ethan continued, his voice still low, but every word clear as a bell. "You were never mine. 8 months of dating doesn't make you own me, and you never will be. Because I choose Natalie. Not because you're bad and she's good, but because she sees me as a person. You see me as a possession." "No," Melissa whispered. "No, you can't. It's over, Melissa. It was over 2 years ago. It's over now. It's over forever." He tightened his grip on his phone and started dialing. "And if you don't leave now, I'm calling the police and you're going to jail for violating a restraining order." For a long moment, no one moved. The air was heavy, charged, like before a storm. Then Melissa let out a sound, something between a sob and a scream. She looked at her bleeding hands as if seeing them for the first time. Looked at me, at Ethan, at the broken door. "He was mine," she whispered one last time, her voice broken and small. And then she ran. Past us, down the hallway, out of the restaurant, disappearing into the night. I was trembling. Ethan held me tighter, his face buried in my hair. "It's over," he whispered. "Natalie, it's over." She heard. She finally heard. But I wasn't so sure, because people like Melissa don't hear what they don't want to hear. And obsession, once rooted so deeply, doesn't disappear with 5 words, even if they are the right words. If you're following this intense story, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, do you think Melissa will finally give up, or will this only get worse? The police arrived 10 minutes later. Detective Morrison, the same one who had heard us months before, asked questions, took photos of Melissa's bloody handprints on the wall, documented everything. "She violated the restraining order," he said. "Technically, she can argue she was at the bar, not near you, but locking you in the bathroom? Threats? That's assault, possibly battery." "I just want her to stop," I said, exhausted. "I don't want to destroy her life. I just want her to leave us alone." "I understand. But Miss Brooks, people like Melissa Hartley don't stop because you're kind. They stop because they're forced to stop." He looked at Ethan. "You said something to her, something that made her run. What was it?" Ethan hesitated. "I told her she was never mine and never will be." Morrison nodded slowly. "Good. Because obsessive people live in a fantasy, and as long as that fantasy exists, they continue. But when you definitively break that fantasy, they either crumble or escalate. There's no in between." "Escalate how?" I asked, fear tightening my chest. "Like doing something desperate, something that forces a final confrontation." He handed us a card. "My personal number. If she shows up again, no matter where, no matter when, you call. Immediately. Understood?" "Understood." Melissa didn't show up again. Not that night, not the next week. But she left a digital trail. She posted on Facebook, a public post that all our mutual friends saw. "When you truly love someone, you fight. You don't give up. You don't let someone else steal your future. True love is worth fighting for, worth waiting for, worth everything." Comments flooded in. Some supportive, "You deserve better." Some confused, "Who is this post about?" Some brutally honest, "Melissa, you need to move on." Rachel captured everything. "This is evidence that she's not giving up. I'll use it at the restraining order extension hearing." But there was more.
Melissa had created a blog, an entire blog dedicated to lost love and fighting for destiny. It didn't mention Ethan by name, but anyone who knew the situation would know. He says he forgot me, but I see it in his eyes when he looks at me. He remembers. He feels. He's just confused. She confused him. But confusion passes. Truth remains. And our truth is love. Post after post of romanticized delusion, quotes about eternal love, photos of places she and Ethan had visited 2 years ago, songs that were theirs. "This is disturbing," I told Ethan, reading her latest post. "She really believes this. She's created an entire alternative reality." "I know." He looked sick. "Natalie, I never. When we were together, it wasn't like this. It was a normal relationship. 8 months. Good, but not intense. And when I broke up, I thought she accepted it. She said she understood, that we would be friends. And then? And then she started calling, saying she made a mistake, that she wanted to get back together. I said no, gently, and she got intense, saying we were destined, that true love doesn't give up. And the more I pulled back, the more she pushed forward. "Why didn't you tell me this before, the whole extent of it?" "Because I was ashamed." His voice broke. "Ashamed that I let it go so far, that I was too kind, too weak to set real boundaries, and ashamed that part of me liked the attention at first. Being wanted like that, even if it was unhealthy, it made me feel important." Brutal honesty is painful, but necessary. Ethan was admitting something that many stalking victims feel but are afraid to say, that at first, before it got scary, the attention was flattering, and that shame prevents them from seeking help early. Because how do you admit that part of you enjoyed being obsessed over, even when you knew it was wrong? "You're not responsible for her obsession," I said, firmly. "She chose this. She chooses to continue. Your late boundary setting doesn't excuse her." "I know, but I still feel guilty." "Then use that guilt. Use it to never again let someone cross your boundaries. Use it to protect yourself and to protect me." "I will, I promise." The restraining order extension hearing was 2 weeks later.
Melissa showed up, but different this time. No expensive lawyer, no conservative clothes. She looked broken. Unwashed hair, dark circles under her eyes, wrinkled clothes. "Your Honor," she said when it was her turn to speak, her voice small and broken, "I know I did wrong things. I know I scared them. But I just wanted him to see me, to hear me, to understand that I still love him." "Miss Hartley," the judge said, not without sympathy, "love does not justify stalking. It does not justify harassment. It does not justify violating a court order." "I know, but Your Honor, how do you give up on someone who is your soulmate? How do you accept it's over when every part of you knows it's wrong?" "You seek professional help. You respect the other person's boundaries. You move on." The judge paused. "Miss Hartley, I am extending the restraining order for 3 years, and I am ordering a mandatory psychological evaluation. You need help, real professional help." "I'm not crazy." "No one said you are, but you are unwell, and untreated illness becomes dangerous to yourself and to others." He banged his gavel. "Next case." Melissa looked at me as she left, not with anger this time, but with something worse: resignation, acceptance, as if finally, she understood that she had lost. I wanted to feel relief, victory, but all I felt was emptiness. Because yes, we had won legally, but Melissa was broken. And part of me wondered if we could have done it differently, if an earlier intervention with more compassion could have prevented all of this. "You can't save everyone," Rachel said afterward, reading my expression, "especially people who don't want to be saved. Melissa had chances. She chose obsession. These are the consequences. I know, but I still feel bad. Good. It means you have empathy, but don't confuse empathy with responsibility. You didn't cause this. She did. 3 months later, I received an email from Melissa. Natalie, I know I shouldn't be contacting you. The restraining order says no contact, but I need to say this. Not for you to forgive me, I know I won't, but for me to move on. I'm in treatment, real treatment, therapy 3 times a week, medication for obsessive-compulsive disorder and borderline personality disorder. I'm doing the work. And part of that work is accepting the truth I spent 2 years denying. Ethan doesn't love me, never loved me the way I wanted him to, and I turned a normal 8-month relationship into an epic love story in my head because I couldn't accept rejection. It's not about you being better or him loving you more. It's about me being sick and not being able to let go. But I'm letting go now, not because I want to, but because I need to. Because if I don't let go, I'll destroy not only your lives, but mine. So this is goodbye, for real this time. I won't show up anymore. I won't send messages anymore. I won't live in a fantasy where he comes back. I hope you two are happy, genuinely, because you deserve it, and I deserve to heal. Melissa. I showed the email to Rachel. Is she violating the restraining order? Technically, yes, but Rachel read it again. This feels genuine, like real closure. My recommendation, don't reply, but keep it. And if she contacts you again, then we take action. What if it's real? If she's really healing? Then great. But Natalie, it's not your job to heal her, or to validate her, or to forgive her. Your job is to protect yourself and to live your life. I didn't reply to the email, but I didn't delete it either. Because part of me wanted to believe that people can change, that illness can be treated, that endings can be happy for everyone. But a larger part knew that some wounds don't heal completely. Some scars remain, and that's okay. If you're following this journey, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. In the comments, do you believe in second chances for stalkers who seek treatment, or are some lines not to be crossed? A year after the bathroom confrontation, Ethan proposed to me. It wasn't dramatic. It was us, walking on our favorite trail, the one where we first saw Melissa but claimed as our own. He stopped at a lookout overlooking Puget Sound, took my hand, and said, "Natalie Brooks, you taught me that love isn't possession. It's a choice, a daily choice to see you, to hear you, to respect you. A choice to fight not for you, but with you. A choice to build a life together, not control each other." He knelt, pulling a small box from his pocket. "So, I choose you. Today, tomorrow, every day. Will you marry me?" I cried, not sad tears, but tears of relief, joy, gratitude that we had survived, that we had made it here. Yes, I said, 1,000 times yes. The ring was simple, a gold band with a small diamond. Not ostentatious, not flashy. Perfect. "There's one thing," Ethan said as he slipped it on my finger. "I want to do this right, completely right. So before we get married, I want you to know I finished therapy about boundaries, about why I was so passive with Melissa, about how my fear of conflict almost cost us everything." "Ethan, let me finish. I learned that being kind doesn't mean being passive, that setting boundaries isn't cruel, that protecting you, protecting us, isn't selfishness." He cupped my face. "And I learned that you deserve a partner who fights, not just when it becomes impossible, but from the beginning. And I'm going to be that partner, I promise. I know, you already are. I'm still learning, but I'm trying. That's all I ask." We didn't hear from Melissa for months. No messages, no appearances, no blog posts. It was as if she had disappeared. "Do you think she's okay?" I asked Ethan one night as we planned the wedding. "Honestly, I don't know. Part of me hopes she is, that she found help, that she's healing." He paused. "But another part is still afraid. that this is the calm before another storm. Do you think she'll show up at the wedding? I don't know. But if she does, he looked at me, we're prepared. We have security, we have a restraining order, and we have each other. 6 months before the wedding, I received a message on LinkedIn from Melissa. My heart pounded, but when I opened it, it wasn't a threat. It was an apology. Natalie, I know I shouldn't be contacting you, but I'm doing a 12-step program as part of my treatment, and one of the steps is to make amends with people I've hurt. You don't have to reply, you don't have to forgive me. I just need to say this. I terrorized you, sabotaged your relationship, made you live in fear, and I did all of it because I was so lost in my own obsession that I didn't see you as a person. I saw you as an obstacle, but you weren't an obstacle. You were a woman trying to love someone, and I tried to destroy that. I'm sorry. Deeply, genuinely sorry. I've been in treatment for a year now. Therapy, medication, support groups. I'm doing the work of understanding why I did what I did and of ensuring I never do it again. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking to be friends. I'm just saying that I see it now. I see the damage I caused, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be better. I hope you and Ethan are happy. You deserve it. Melissa. I showed Ethan. He read it in silence. His expression impossible to read. What do you think? I think she's trying. Genuinely trying. He handed the phone back. But that doesn't erase what she did. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't mean we trust her. Should I reply? That's your choice. But if you do reply, boundaries. Clear, firm boundaries. I thought for a long time. Then I wrote, Melissa, thank you for the message. I appreciate that you are doing the work of healing and taking responsibility, but I'm not ready to forgive. Maybe I never will be. What you did hurt me deeply. It made me question my safety, my judgment, my relationship. I'm happy that you are in treatment, genuinely, but I need you to know I don't want contact. Not now, maybe never. This isn't about punishment. It's about protection. Mine, Ethan's, ours. I hope you heal, but I need you to heal away from us. Natalie. I sent it before I could regret it, and then I blocked her profile. Is it over? It's over. The wedding was beautiful. Small, just 50 people. Close friends and family. Outdoors, in a garden I had designed myself. Flowers I chose, trees I planted, every element meaning something. This garden, I said in my vows, took 2 years to grow. 2 years of planning, planting, nurturing. Some plants didn't survive. Some had to be removed because they were toxic. But the ones that stayed, they grew stronger, more beautiful, more resilient. Our relationship is like this garden. It went through a storm. Some parts died, but what survived is stronger. And I choose to keep cultivating it with you, every day. Ethan cried, I cried, half the guests cried. You are my home, he said in his vows, not because you complete me, I am complete on my own, but because you make me want to be better, to fight harder, to love deeper, not with obsession or possessiveness, but with respect, partnership, choice. And I choose you. Today, tomorrow, always. Melissa didn't show up. There was no drama, no confrontation, just love, joy, celebration. And when I kissed my husband, under an arch of flowers I had grown, I felt finally free. 2 years after the wedding, I was giving a lecture at a conference on urban safety. My specialty had changed. I still did landscape architecture, but now focused on safe spaces. Gardens with adequate lighting, clear sightlines, escape routes, beautiful spaces that also protect. Surviving stalking changed my perspective, I told the audience. It made me think about safety in ways I had never considered, and it made me want to create spaces where others feel safe. After the lecture, a woman approached. In her 30s, haunted eyes. My ex is following me, she whispered, for months, and I don't know what to do. The police say they can't help until he does something, but I'm terrified. I gave her Rachel's card. Call her. She's a lawyer specializing in stalking cases. And in the meantime, I took a deep breath. Document everything. Every message, every appearance, every interaction. Build a case. And don't wait until it becomes impossible to act. Set boundaries early. firmly, clearly. But he'll get angry. He's already following you. His anger isn't your responsibility. Your safety is. I held her hands. You are not alone. There are people who understand, who believe in you, who will help you. She cried, thanked me, left with a hope she didn't have when she arrived. And I realized that was it. That was how I turned trauma into purpose, pain into power, survival into advocacy. 3 years after the bathroom confrontation, I received a letter, a handwritten envelope, no return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Melissa. Part of me wanted to throw it away unopened, but curiosity won. Natalie, this is the last time I'll contact you, I promise. I'm writing because tomorrow I'm moving to Portland. New job, new apartment, new life. Away from Seattle. Away from you too. My therapist says it's healthy to start over in a place without triggers, without memories, without the temptation to fall into old patterns. I've had 3 years of intensive treatment. I've learned a lot about myself, about why I became who I became, about childhood trauma, insecure attachment, fear of abandonment that manifested as obsession. I'm not using this as an excuse, just an explanation, an understanding. I learned that love isn't possession, that you can't force someone to love you, that respecting boundaries isn't giving up, it's growing. I learned that I was sick, genuinely, dangerously sick, and that untreated illness almost destroyed not only your lives, but mine. So I'm starting over, not as the person I was, but as the person I am becoming. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect a reply. I just hope you know you were right about everything, and I finally understand. Thank you for being strong when I was weak, for setting boundaries when I couldn't, for surviving when I tried to break you. Be happy. You deserve it. Goodbye, Melissa. I showed Ethan. He read it, then carefully folded it and handed it back to me. How do you feel? Relieved, sad, hopeful. I paused. I think she finally understood. She's finally really healing. Good. She deserves healing. Everyone deserves it. He pulled me into a hug. But she was right about one thing. We deserve to be happy, and we are. We are, I agreed. And it was true. We were happy. Not perfect fairy tale happiness, real happiness, built on a foundation of trust, respect, daily choice. Happiness that survived a storm and was stronger because of it. This story shows us something crucial about obsession, stalking, and boundaries. Love is not possession. Love is not control. Love is not refusing to accept no for an answer. Melissa was not a pure villain. She was a sick person who confused obsession with love, who romanticized destructive behavior, who couldn't accept rejection. But illness does not excuse actions. It explains, but it does not justify. Ethan was not a perfect victim. He was too passive, too kind, avoided conflict for so long that he allowed the situation to escalate. But he learned. He grew. He set boundaries. And Natalie was not a flawless heroine. She had fear, doubt, moments of weakness, but she also had strength. She refused to be intimidated, she fought for her relationship, and she transformed trauma into purpose. The lessons are clear. 1. Set boundaries early, firmly, clearly. Don't wait until the situation is impossible. 2. Document everything. The legal system is imperfect, but evidence is power. 3. Kindness does not mean permitting abuse. You can be compassionate and still protect yourself. 4. Stalking is a crime. It's not love. It's not romantic persistence. It's a violation of autonomy and safety. 5. Healing is possible for victims and perpetrators, but it requires real work, professional help, and responsibility. If you are being stalked, you are not alone. It's not your fault, and help is available. Organizations like the National Domestic Violence Hotline, RAINN, and specialized lawyers can help. If you recognize obsessive behavior in yourself, seek help before you hurt someone, before you destroy lives. Treatment works, but only if you admit you need it. And if you survived, you are stronger than you think. Your story matters. Your trauma is valid, and you can transform pain into purpose. Have you ever had to deal with an obsessive ex or a stalker? How did you set boundaries? Share in the comments. Your story can help someone. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Leave in the comments what story you would like to hear next. Remember, love is a choice, not obsession. It's respect, not possession. It's freedom, not control. And you deserve love that frees you, not that traps you. Never was and never will. These words have power. Use them when you need them. Set boundaries, protect yourself, live your life. And you, what do you value more in a relationship? Intense passion or mutual respect? Leave your answer in the comments. There are more exciting stories appearing on your screen now. Stay with us on this journey, because in the end, we all deserve love that uplifts us, not that destroys us. Love that chooses us, not that chases us. Love that is partnership, not possession.